What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Robski, and I'm going to go ahead and do a book review on the book Walden. This book was written by Henry David Thoreau. It was written in the mid 1800s. Thoreau is a really interesting guy. He, according to his background, he ended up going to Harvard when he was 16 years old, if I recall correctly. And then he was able to become a school teacher. What this book is and what the premise of the book is he was a man who lived in Boston, Massachusetts, and he decided to forego all that and go live out on a place called Walden Pond in his own cabin. I think he built a storage area there, or I wasn't quite sure with that. But anyways, this is a classic novel, and it's one of these novels that is like, you usually find this novel on a bucket list item, like 100 books you should read before you die. And there's a very good reason for that. Especially in today's modern world, we're surrounded by technology, artificialness. We're surrounded by screens, lights, all that. And this book talks about the benefit of simple living versus something complex. You know, the difference between going to a city versus being out in the country. So anyways, let's get into this here. So first point I want to talk about on this book, the resourcefulness of man. So what I mean by that, and it's not just men, it's women. I don't want to get into that. Let's just say resourcefulness of people. We as humans, we have very big brains, and our brains we're the most intelligent creatures on planet Earth. We have been able to come up with everything. Cars, electricity, all this stuff here. Well, it's kind of like when I go out hunting, there are certain things that are missing. For example, a house, and so therefore you have to build a shelter if you want to camp out, depending on the situation you're at. So by default, I keep saying this too, I think human beings are richer than they think they are. I listened to a station called K-Love, and they talk about this, about how there's always someone who's in a worse situation than you're at. And sometimes I forget to, we as humans forget to figure that out. But anyways, so the resourcefulness of man. Okay, so guy goes out, he's in this cabin, he figures out how to farm for himself. He figures out how to make his own firewood, harvest his crops, hunt for food. So it's kind of living on the land. In today's society, there are two types of behaviors, which in our economy, there's two types of people. There's the producers and there's the consumers. So in an economy that we're in, we have far too many consumers. We are trained to consume. We consume everything. In the book Walden, it teaches you how to be a producer. It teaches you how to produce things. A lot of people, they get into financial trouble because they consume too much, and I am definitely guilty of this sin. It's like I have a note here: wealth is relative. The downfall of the modern human. Again, certain things that this guy learned out on the pond that we kind of take for granted. We as humans are kind of in this artificial world a lot of the times. Like I said, looking at our telephone screens. Like for example, there's wildlife outside my backyard, and it's like I don't even pay attention. I don't pay attention to the squirrels. I don't pay attention to the geese, the ducks. I mean, when they're there, they're nice, but it's like I don't pay detailed attention to them. And this book kind of talks about how, like, when you when you are kind of alone, he doesn't have any TV, electricity, things like that, that you appreciate. The animals were kind of like his entertainment. It's like he observed their behaviors. So let me see here. So yeah, I have here sounds, animals, farming. He had some visitors. People would come and visit him, and he also threw in a lot of good philosophy. He threw in some things that we're struggling with today. Like he talked about, this guy was a Harvard grad back in the 1800s, and even back then he saw the flaws of our education system. He talked about, when you actually go out and do something, it's a lot different than studying about it. And he was saying this back in the 1800s. With this book, there were several essays that were attached after it, and the last one I liked was A Plea for Captain John Brown. Guy was a warrior, a war hero. He was about ready to be hanged, and this Henry David Thoreau talked about why he shouldn't. Apparently, Mr. John Brown embraced the Spartan lifestyle. It was interesting because Captain John Brown would recruit some of his best warriors, but he recruited the men with the highest character. He didn't recruit like the biggest and strongest and fastest. He recruited the people with the best character first, and there is a reason for that. Somebody with high character, they say they're going to get something done, they get it done. So he saw, and that applies to today as well. So he saw value in men like that. As far as reading this book, like I said, it has chapters in here: higher laws, the ponds, the bean field, visitors, solitude, sounds. So all of these things that he experienced, he wrote actual chapters with it. It is not, I'm not going to lie, it's not one of my favorites, but it was a good read. It kind of reminded me of, I bought this book from Costco called Reading the Constitution, and it was very similar to that. There was some good insights, some philosophy in there. I could see why it's a classic. But again, as far as the entertainment value, it wasn't the most entertaining read. But again, a good read. So I still think that this book, Walden, deserves to be in the top 100 lists for people to read because of the lessons in there. So anyways, there's your book review on Walden. Get it if you are interested in potentially living off the land. Robski out.